Okay, so let's start it now, but we still have 3 minutes. For those that just joined us, we were talking about Remind. It's under Tools on your main screen, and you can do a search for properties that are more likely than not to go on the market.
Lucy, can you lower that a little bit?
Some people, huh?
Just a reminder for everybody as they're joining, this is Fernando, if y'all can just please put your devices on mute.
Oh, hey, Franklin. Hey, George. How are y'all?
Hey, Carol, how you doing?
Good, good. Good to see y'all.
Outstanding. Good to see you too, although I don't see you.
I know. This computer I'm using now doesn't have a camera. Thank God, because you wouldn't want to see me.
Anytime I'd like to see you. So what's up?
We are, we've got 2 more minutes before we start. We're still waiting for people to join, but I was just doing a quick thing on Remind on how to do a search for all properties that are listed, more likely to go on the market. And it's a good way to start hitting them up, you know, just start introducing yourself to them. You can get their address, start sending them letters like, hey, you know, if you're looking to buy or sell, please keep me in mind.
Okay.
But Remind is on, I'll show you again where to find it. So you're on the HAR homepage, and you're going to go to Tools, and it's third-party tools, and so it's Remind. And this is a good way you can get to Mls Tools. This is where you can, if you need a form, a quick form, you can put on, click here and do Form Manager, and you can type in a form that you need. Or let's see, Consumer Tools, that gets you to the water district info. We still got people joining, so I'm adding them as they come in. I think everybody's in.
Okay, Mindy, this is Fernando. Let me know when you want me to start pressing the record button. It's
Okay.
8:30 already.
It's okay. We can start now.
It's recording.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Mindy Flint with a mentor with Texas United, and I'm so glad that y'all could join us. Today, we are going to go over the MUD form and how to fill it out. The MUD is, you know, more likely than not, when you get a MUD form from an agent, it's not going to be filled out correctly. That's how often, I mean, it's more likely than not going to be filled out correctly. So if you know how to fill out the MUD correctly and you understand the MUD, you're ahead of the game. So what is a MUD? A MUD is an entity or an organization that was put together to provide water, sewage, drainage, and, you know, other services within its little municipality. So, and to find out if a property is in a MUD, we are going to we're going to look at our properties. I'm still admitting people while we're talking. So we're going to look at our properties, and we're going to enter matrix. And a quick way to find all of Texas United Realty listings is over here under My Office Active Listings. So we're going to click on My Office Active Listings. And first, we're going to check out a property that does not have a MUD. So we're clicking on the listing, and this hyperlink will take you directly to the Realist tax system. So we're going to click on that, and there are a couple of ways to look and see if if the property's in a MUD. So underneath tax information, a lot of times, if it's in a MUD, it'll have MUD, and then it'll have a hyperlink. And then also under assessments and tax, you look here and you can tell if it's in a MUD. It'll say like MUD, whatever, you know, MUD district number 31 or district number 14. So this property is not in a MUD. So we're going to go back. I opened so many things here. I'm going to close them out. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to hit our next button and we're going to see if this property is in a MUD. So you click on the tax account. Again, that links you to the Realist tax system. I use Realist a lot. You know, if y'all were my mentees, I did a webinar yesterday for them and it was all on Realist. Realist is a good tool. So if you're not familiar with Realist, please become familiar with it. So, and you can see under here, under the tax information, it says MUD information, and then it's got a hyperlink to where you can click on that and it takes you to the MUD part. Now, some listings are in more than one MUD, and you need to make sure you have all the MUDs that is in the district, or that's in that listing, that listing is in their district. Let me get it right. Okay, so the easy part on a MUD is filling it out. So the first part, Harris County MUD number 391, that's going to go right here. We're going to put draw. So the real property described below that you are about to purchase is located in the, and you would put Harris County number 331. And we're just going to put MUD right here. MUD 3, MUD. And it's really basically, you follow the first name goes in the first spot. You skip over Harris. The tax rate is going to go here and here. So right here, it's saying the rate of taxes levied by the district on the real property located in this district is 1.11 on each 100 of assessed valuation. Somebody else is joining. And the same with this second blank, you're going to put a 111. Okay, now the 2019, you're going to need that because that's going to be at the bottom. It's going to ask you, I got to move y'all's pictures. Down here, it's saying that this was modified, the notice by substitution of the words January, and we're going to put 2019 right here. That's supposed to be a 2019. So that goes there. Now in the first blank is going to be your first number. This is the total amount that this MUD has authorized. So it's going to be the first blank is the first number. The second blank is going to be the total amount of the bonds issued. So, I mean, so that makes it really easy because, you know, first blank, first number, second blank, second number. And that's really all you need to know about filling out the top part. That's the simple part. The second one, this is saying the district has the authority to adopt or impose another fee. And we don't know if they have or have not done that. So you can put unknown here. That's going to be unknown. Now, this is the part that confuses all the agents. The first part, you're really basically just copying information. The second part, whether it lies inside of Houston's boundaries or outside of Houston's boundaries in an extraterritorial jurisdiction, that's where everybody gets confused. Let me add Brenda. Okay, Belinda. So right now we need to see if this MUD or if this property is inside of Houston's boundaries or if it's outside of an ETJ. So it's called an ETJ. And to do that, you're going to look at the ETJ map. The ETJ map is located right here. So you're at your home page where you do your search in Matrix. You're going to click on the, well, before we do that, we need to see where the property is. Okay, so we're going to look at the property on the map and see where it's located. So I know this is in Cypress. I know, you know, Beltway 8's right here, 99's right here. So I know basically where this property is located. Okay, so now we're going to our ETJ map. This is the ETJ map. Oh, I just shrunk it. Crap. Let me move this screen. Okay, so this is the ETJ map, and what I was trying to do was back out a little bit and not shrink it. And the ETJ map is really kind of hard to navigate. It's not user-friendly. So this is 290. This is 1960 or Beltway 8. So I know 99 crosses right about here. So the map's outdated. It doesn't have 99 on it. So we're going to blow this up. And if you look, it tells you right here what ETJ it's in. So this property is located in Houston, ETJ. If it's going to be located inside the corporate boundaries of Houston, it's going to be in this pink. If it's located in another ETJ, it'll say Fulshire ETJ, and I think there's some other ones over here. Orchard ETJ, Richmond ETJ, Sugarland ETJ. So you really have to just look on the map where the property is and then kind of compare it to this ETJ map. So back to the mud, and let me move this down. Okay, so notice for districts located in whole or part within the corporate boundaries of the municipality. We know it's not within the corporate boundaries of Houston. And when it says municipality, it's talking about Houston. So we know it's not there, so we're not going to mark that. Notice for districts located in whole or in part in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of one or more of the home rule municipalities and not located within the corporate boundaries. So that's what it is. It's located in whole or in part of the ETJ of Houston. So we're going to put our X there. A, you leave blank because it goes with this first one. So if it's located within Houston, you're going to put it's located within Houston, within the corporate boundaries. B, it goes with the ETJ. So the district is located in whole or in part in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Houston, because that's what it told us on the ETJ map. So you just put Houston there. Number 4 is the legal description. So you're going to go back to the listing, and you're going to copy the legal description right here, and you're just going to place it in number 4. And that is basically the mud. Now, the one thing that I wanted to make sure, and I think this is the most important thing that everybody is aware of, is that if you are representing a buyer, you're not representing the seller. If you are representing a buyer, you do not fill out the MUD form for the selling agent. You don't mention the MUD form. You don't do that. Because if you're looking at your 1-4 contract, this is your standard 1-4 residential. This part in the statutory tax district, if the property is situated in a utility or other statutory created district providing water, sewer, drainage, or flood control facilities and services, requires seller to deliver and buyer to sign the statutory notice relating to the tax rate, the bonded indebtedness, or standby fee prior to the final execution of this contract. If the selling agent does not provide this to you prior to the executed contract, then it's a good way for your buyer to get out of the contract, like if they're out of option period or something like that, and still get their earnest money back. So that is really, really important. And if you represent the seller, you make sure that you have this MUD filled out, and in the document section of your listing, you want to have your seller covered, because if you don't have this filled out and you don't have it give it to the buyer before the execution of the contract, then it's just kind of like missing the, you just missed the 3-day deadline on delivering your option period. You know, it's a big deal. So you want to make sure that if you're representing the buyer, you do not fill this out for your selling agent until it's time for you to turn in the documents and stuff, and then you make sure the MUD form's filled out. Right, Fernando? When would you say they would need to do it?
Yeah, so whenever they're starting to sign the listing agreement, then they should have the HOA, if applicable, and the MUD applicable.
Well, if they're representing the buyer,
Oh,
I would say after the contract's executed, because they're still covered, right? So if the selling agent does not present them the MUD and they've executed the contract, then they're covered. You know, they can go ahead and tell the agent, hey, you know,
right.
You didn't do the MUD. The contract's already been executed, but you still have an out for your client because they didn't deliver it to you before
Correct.
the contract was executed.
Correct.
So that's the main thing. And another thing that I wanted to make sure everybody understood is there can be more than one MUD. You make sure that you have every utility district, because this doesn't, you know, the contract doesn't specify that it's just the MUD. It can be the flood control district. You know, that contract says every.
Yeah, there's also a PID,
Yeah.
public,
So
or I mean, PUD, public utility district.
yeah, any utility district providing water, sewer, drainage, or flood control facilities and services. Any of those, you have to have this form for it. So we're going to look at one, I think the next one. There was one property in here that had more than one. So this is the MUD. So it's got a MUD, and we're going to go down to the tax assessment. So here's the MUD here, but look, it also has a Harris County Flood Control District and Port of Houston Authority. This will take you to the MUD map. This little click here, that hyperlink. And if you question if it has more than one, you can look through this map, and you have to look through, you have to scroll through. So we're looking for Harris County Port Authority, right? Harris County Flood Control, that was on there. Wasn't that one on there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let's see. Where'd the realist go? I close these out. Yeah, Harris County Flood Control. So you're going to have to do a form for that one too. Is Port of Houston Authority, is that on the MUD map?
I don't recall seeing that in there, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, there's a lot. And so you just have to really, you want to make sure.
Because there's like PUDs there.
Yeah,
I don't remember a flood authority on here.
Yeah, I don't see that. Port of Houston. So at least we know we got to do those two. Port of Houston. Yeah, oh, Cove Improvement District. I've never seen that one. Okay, so you've got two. So that property should have the 2 MUDs filled out for it. And we can go and check one. We'll check one of these listings that has documents on it. So we got this document. And here's the MUD. And we're just gonna look it over. This is the one that we looked over earlier. So we know that it was Harris County, number 391 district. It was 111 in both spots, so there should be a 111 here too. That number's right. The higher number is going to be first because it's the bonds authorized, and this is the bonds issued. It's the lower number, but it's the first blank, second blank. It goes in notice. But this is wrong because we looked at it, and it's in the ETJ of Houston. It's not in the corporate boundary. So, you know, this should be marked here. That shouldn't be there, and Houston should be here. She's got the legal description, and she's got the year. I mean, so that's good. She has it filled out, but it needs to be, you know, corrected. And a lot of times where you're going to see the mistakes is the ETJ, because a lot of agents don't understand how to find the ETJ. A lot of agents are unaware that if they do not present the MUD before the contract's executed, that their client is going to be in big trouble if they're representing the seller. You know, and I think that basically covers it. Is there anything else you think we should add, Fernando?
Well, it's just more, a lot of us are doing buyer side. What do you recommend whenever a buyer agent discovers that there's a problem? How do we communicate to the listing agent? Like, what do you recommend?
What I do is I tell them, hey, your MUD's wrong. Because, you know, we've already executed contract. If they've got the MUD in there and if they give it to me first, I tell them, you know, the MUD's wrong. This is how I read it. And, you know, like I had before, another agent said, well, this is how I read it. And she ended up calling the MUD district, and they had a pre-printed form that they emailed her that we ended up using, and, you know, that had the information on it. So, you know, yeah, it's anytime you can help another agent, if they're not aware of it, you know, just bring it to their attention. Say, you know, this is how I read the ETJ. Is there any way you can double check with your broker and make sure it's correct, you know, that you have the right information? Sharing and helping somebody is always the right thing to do, I think.
Where do we find these MUD forms?
So to find any forms, we're going to go to the home page. And we're going to go to tools. When you're in dot loop, it's automatically going to come up for you. But this is outside of you being in dot loop. If you just need to print a one-off, this is how you're going to do it. So you're going to go to tools. Let's see, MLS. No, that's the MUD district. The forms, tools, MLS, tools, and then forms manager. And you can type in. It's going to be the water district. So you can type in water district and search, and there it is right there. And we're gonna just, oh, I didn't want to save it, I wanted to open it.
Sometimes I notice that, you know, some forms are called water district and others are called a MUD, and that's very confusing for new agents. They don't know what the difference between the two are.
It's, a MUD just stands for municipal utility district, and a water district is just a, you know, the same thing. But you need to use this notice for any organization or entity that provides water, sewer, drainage, you know, what did the, or flood control. So anyone that provides water, sewer, drainage, or flood control services, you have to fill out this form for, and make sure, if you're representing the seller, make sure it is up on your papers when you're doing your listing. So we'll see. Let's see our office listings. So they had it on there, but they needed to correct it. This one, I don't know if they have it or not. No, they have the seller's disclosures. And let's see if they're in a mud. So we're gonna look. And I want to pull it up and maybe y'all can tell me if it's in a mud or not. So so is this one in a mud? Can y'all see? Can y'all tell?
I can see, but I know the answer.
Yeah, somebody else that doesn't know the answer.
Exactly.
Take a guess. Karen, is it in a mud?
I'm going to say no because I don't see anything underneath the legal description.
Yeah, it's not here. Let's go down. Now, looking in the tax assessment, look right here. Does it look like it's in a mud?
Well, it doesn't because wouldn't it say something next to the mud bond? I was trying to compare what you had to my listing to see if my listing's in a mud. Or
What's your listing? We can look.
4706 Linden Place in Pearland.
It's going to be under our office listings, right?
Yes. Oh, no, I'm the buying agent. Sorry.
You're the buying agent. Okay.
Yeah.
So 4706?
Yes, ma'am.
4706, what was that?
Linden Place.
L-I-N?
L-I-N-D-E-N.
Right here. Did they have the muds in the papers? No.
No, they weren't, but that doesn't mean he didn't make a mistake. I've caught a lot of things that we've been communicating on.
Okay, so let's see if it's in a mud. It doesn't look so right here, but let's go down here. Drain district, that's a water.
That's what I saw that and I thought, okay, what does that mean?
That means, let's look on the mud bond info. That sounds drain district. What was that, Brazoria County Drain District?
Yes, we're Brazoria, that's Brazoria, yes.
Isn't that what it said? Brazoria County Drain District, right there. Did it have a number on it?
It did, it was, where'd it go?
Yeah, we'll look again. Drain district number 4. Yeah. Did she give you that? Did they give you that form?
Nope.
They didn't give you that form?
Nope. So I fill the form out and just keep my mouth quiet for how long?
Well, you've already executed the contract, so you're good. It says before, because this says standby prior to final execution of contract. So you have an out for your buyer, because they did not give you that mud form. But you do need to go back and tell her, hey, this isn't a mud, a drainage district. You need the mud form.
Okay, and it's their job to fill it out, correct?
Yeah, it's their job. Yeah, I wouldn't do their job for them. So you have an out. And you know what? I don't think it hurts to tell them. And a lot of agents really don't know about this. They don't know about the statutory tax district clause in the contract, even though it's in our contract. We don't read it that well. I know I don't. And until it's pointed out in your talk, you don't know. So it might, I would say, on this one, I'm not sure if you're aware, but on this, if you don't give if you don't give the mud notice, it's really any water, sewer, drainage, flood control service, any of those municipalities, if you don't give me that notice before the execute contract, the buyer has an out. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that because, we need that drainage information and it's on the mud bond. So she absolutely should have one for it. Because it was there, Brazoria City. And now when she fills it out, you know how to check it. But it looks like this one was the tax year 2018. So maybe this is a good question, Fernando. If it's an older district and it's all zero, do they still?
Yeah, that means they're not charging taxes anymore.
But do they still need the form? They would, because if the district, it says right here, the district has the authority to adopt and impose a fee. So you would still need to be notified.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah, because they may come back and do another bond voting.
Right. So it would just be, you know,
Zero. It will be zero.
in these numbers right here, it would be 00,
Correct. But not,
2018.
but not the cents.
Well, wouldn't you put right there, you would put 0.14.
Right, correct. Yeah, right. Those two numbers, yes, but the other ones, no, they would
Yeah,
be blank.
those would be zero. So it would be 0.1260
Correct.
here.
Okay, and what I would be looking at is the line that says Brazoria County DD number 4, because it
Yeah.
said it was 4. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Brazoria County Drainage District number 4. And it gives you the information to put in the blank. So that's going to be 0.1460. The year's 2018, which is going to go right here. And it's going to be 00. Well, 00, I'm sorry, 00. And then unknown here. And then you need to figure out if it's in, it's going to be in, I bet you, Brazoria ETA. If it's within the corporate boundaries of Houston or outside in an ETJ. And the way, you know, again, to do that is you look at the map and see where it is on the map. Now, I'm not familiar with this on the ETJ map, so y'all will have to help me. So this is where it is. So it's going to be right by Pearland, it looks like. And we'll see on the ETJ map where that falls. Oh, didn't I just do the ETJ map? Or is that the wrong one? All right, let's go back and find it. So we're going to go to home, and this is where to find the ETJ map. And it's so hard to maneuver. So there's Pearland. It looks like it might be Houston. So do y'all remember where it was exactly?
Yeah, you might have to look at the map again. But Pearland looks like it's.
Yeah, because it looks like some of it, this part right here is going to be in the ETJ. This part is going to be within the corporate boundaries. Manville, wasn't it like, where'd that freaking location go?
I think it was just north of Manville.
It was north of Manville? Like over here somewhere? When I pulled up the ETJ map, it kind of went away, I think.
They ought to make it where you could mark the location and then zoom.
I know, they should. They really should.
We'll send an email to Har.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just pull up the location again and maybe put a side by side here, and that way you can kind of tell, because I mean this one's really broken up. You got Pearland ETJ here. This is the corporate boundaries of Houston. This is Houston ETJ. Then you go to Manville. You know, so this one you don't want to guess, because you know it could be like in one of these small ones.
Well, I did look up the other day to see if it was in a flood zone for my buyer.
Was it?
No. It's
Yeah.
not in the 100 or the 500-year flood plan.
That's good. That is good. Did anybody else have a listing they wanted us to check while we're on it? I know Rick likes us to keep these like 15 minutes long, not too long, because we know y'all are busy. But if somebody has another one that you want us to look really quick, we can. Did anybody have any questions?
How do you get to that ETJ map?
You go, so we're back at the home screen where you do your search for the single family, and it's down here in external links, ETJ and city limits map.
I was trying to say I had one that I wanted you to look for me that I'm going to be coming up for a listing.
Okay, what's that one?
2802 Nickel Canyon Drive in Rosharon, Texas.
CHO Nickel Canyon.
NICKEL.
And CKEL.
Do you live in Rosharon, whoever that is talking?
No.
Okay.
Nickel Canyon Drive. So it's not listed now?
No, but it will be.
It will be. So let's go to, we'll go to all. Oh, you know what? We'll just look on Realist. $28.02. NICK, Nickel, CANY, Canyon. Let's see if that comes up. Okay, so right there, MUD 31. You can
Yeah.
click on that link, but let's see if it's got more than one.
Mindy,
Uh-huh.
when you have one that you said has more than one,
Mm-hmm.
do you do two forms or do you combine the two districts on one form?
No, you do two.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one looks like it's going to have two. It's got the drain district. That's what we just looked up for the other listing, but it was drain district number 4.
Mm-hmm.
What is ESD number 3? Do you know, Fernando? This looks like it might be something too. Brazoria County ESD number
No.
3.
I mean, no. Yeah.
Okay, so we know we got to do one
You
for
might
the
have to-
for the mud, and we know we got to do that one for this. I don't know what it. Anything that you don't know what it is, look it up. You know, I don't know what a Brazoria County.
Am I
I'm sorry.
extraterritorial district? Yeah.
Stand for what?
You cut off whoever that was.
I think, was that you, Fernando?
Info. When you click on the mud bond
You're cutting in and out.
info,
Can you hear us? Fernando?
EDS and see if it's
I don't think he can hear
I
us.
don't think he can hear us.
Yeah.
hello?
Fernando, can you hear us? Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, what I would do is I do Brazoria County, and let's see.
Yeah, it looks like they.
Emergency Services District number 3.
Okay.
Conducted public hearings. What is that? I don't think that would get one. Would that get one, Fernando? Because it.
Sorry, it looks like I connection and I'm coming back.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. We can't hear you.
Oh, that's what I was saying. The internet's going crazy over here.
You know, this might get one. Okay, so this says Brazoria County Emergency Services District number 3. And then let's go back to the contract. The contract says if the property is situated in a utility or other statutory created district providing water, sewer, drainage, or flood control facilities and services. That's flood control facilities and services. So would that be emergency services?
I don't know. I'll have to dig into it and kind of investigate that one.
Yeah, because that one would I would have to look into that one more too. But I think reading this together, flood control facilities and services, I think that services goes with the flood control facilities, and that emergency services doesn't sound like it has anything to do with flood control.
Yeah.
So conduct it, yeah. But at least you know you have to do those two.
Yeah.
Fernando, can you hear us yet?
Yeah, I can you hear me now?
We can
Yeah,
hear you now.
better.
Yeah.
Wow, it's weird. On my side, it says that the internet is unstable. So
Yeah, you were cutting in and out. We couldn't hear a word you were saying.
yeah.
Could you
No, I'm
hear
just-
us on this Brazoria County Emergency Services District number 3? Does she need to fill out a form on that?
That's why I was talking when the internet just went crazy. If you go to the MUD info button and see if it shows up on their MUD info button, that's the best way to answer that question.
Oh, you're right, it is. And I looked.
So go to MUD bond info and then do a search for that. You can do like Control F and type in ESD or whatever the acronym is.
Yeah, ESD number 3.
Yeah,
I
don't
did
do
not
number
even
3.
know that. ESD.
Don't do number 3. Just do ESD
Okay.
and then press enter and see if it pops up with every consecutive match.
No,
And
I
if it
didn't.
doesn't,
Well, you just taught me something. Control F. I thought you had this. I thought you had. I'm writing that down. Control.
Me too.
it means control. It means find. And then on an iMac it would be Command F if you're using
Command
iMac.
F. Okay.
And on the Windows computers Control. But
Okay, so
but you can also remember Fernando. But
All right, got the plug in there, Fernando.
Of course, I had to put my little marketing thing.
I like that. Control F. Okay, that's good to know because I've always just.
So anyway,
down.
but if you can, yeah. So whenever you guys are trying to find if something's in a MUD or a water district or a PUD, public utility district, or other, just to Control F and see if it matches. But don't use pound signs. Don't use numbers because that's gonna not. Just try to use the name. Like for example, there you see like Cinco Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Use that kind of verbiage inside
Okay.
the Control F. Don't do number 1 or none of that stuff.
Oh, look, I like how it highlights.
Right. And that's what I like about it is that it highlights it in yellow, and then you can kind of scroll down and see what you're looking for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is good. I like that.
And so just to add, just so whenever like you're looking for something, go in here, and this is the master list, and this is the one that would at least give you 99% of your answers to your question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we know that your listing needs 2. They're going to need the number 5 and then the other MUD that was listed on there.
Right.
Did anybody else have any questions?
Or they want to do a plug.
This was very helpful.
Yeah, I like that. A lot of agents don't know that that part in the contract, about you having to present those before the contract's executed.
And I would just suggest when you're a listing agent, just to do the seller's disclosure, the HOA, the MUD, just make it, and of course, other forms that might be applicable. But I would definitely at least those 3 primary ones and post them on your MLS and just make it a part of your default way of.
But just don't, when you do the MUD, don't fill out the top part. The top part, the buyers are supposed to fill out, let them choose, but you can do the bottom part where it says, it gives an amount and your signatures, your client signatures.
Correct.
Okay.
Like that, the buyers don't have an out, and then you have to return the earnest money.
Yeah, that's a good out for them. So, and another way to find the MUD bond information is right there.
Okay.
It's under public records. So they have several ways that you can find it. It's going to be here. It's going to be on dashboard. What is it? MLS info. I think it's tools. MLS tools. No, that's the forms manager. Let's see. Tools. Consumer tools. Do we see consumer tools? Oh, right there, consumer tools. So the water district info, it's going to be right there too. So they, the good thing about Matrix is it's just not one way to do one thing. There's several ways to do one thing, like several ways to get to the mud bond. It's just not one way to get to it, and several ways to get to realist. And they try to make it easy, but they need to work on the ETJ map.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. If you don't have any more questions, or if you do have some more questions, you can email me or call me. I'm Mindy Flint, and I would love to help you if you have any questions.
If a house isn't listed and hasn't been listed like in the last 20 years, so you're not finding it anywhere on HAR, you can just go to the public records to see if it's going to be in a mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use realist.
Okay. Public records and go to realist.
Public
Yes.
records, realist.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then the
Okay.
realist, that's where you, when you look at their, we'll just do, who has an address? What's that address we just looked up, that one house?
Well, I got another one.
Okay, go ahead.
1905 Kerry, Kerry.
Let's see if that will get it. One match. Okay, so this tells you a lot of information. So
Okay, the one
water tax
that's
district,
the one that's in Deer Park is the one I'm looking at.
this one? Yeah, 1905 Kerry.
Yes, yes.
But you can tell if it's ever been on the market, it will be.
Well, they've been there like 25 years.
Have they? Their
Yeah.
sell score isn't very high. It's kind of like moderate. If it's ever been on the market, it's going to be down here, and you'll be able to click on the link to the last time. Like if it was on the market 20 years ago, you would be able to click on the link and see what it was, if that address was ever there. Like if it was just land, you'd click on it, you'd see that it was the land, and then they built the house. But yeah, it's going to be in a mud district. So you got the Harris County Flood Control, Port of Houston Authority. That's going to be one. And then you've got this one, the Water Tax District. Looks like it might have 3.
I was going to ask you, does that mean it's 3 forms?
Yeah, right, Fernando?
Yes, some time ago there was a transaction that I was working on, and they had 3 mud.
Yeah.
Or 3 mud forms, I should say.
What's
So,
San
yeah.
Jacinto Commercial? What's CLOD?
Well, I'm going to suggest that's the college. San Jacinto
College District. Yeah, you're right.
College.
Community College District. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so it looks like this one will have 3. But if you have questions on the ETJ, or if it's, this is if it's not inside Houston corporate boundaries, this is if it's in the ETJ, and this one is if it's in neither. So they can be in neither, and you would just check that, and both of these would stay blank. Okay. So, any more questions?
No, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, can I get your phone number? Can we all get your phone number?
Yeah, it's 281-570-3923. And I'm Mindy.
She's one of the mentors.
Yeah.
Mindy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Chris. So how do you explain this form to the buyer when you say, okay, this is a mud form? Can you just pretend I'm your buyer and you're explaining what the form is actually about?
Yeah. This form really just tells if you're inside of a mud district, and it tells you what the taxes are going to be on that district. So, your tax rate right here in this one, it's $1.11 for every $100. So basically, it's just so you're informed that you're inside this district and you're going to have this tax. It's just like that college, the community college, you're going to have that college tax, and that's really about it.
Yeah, sometimes you hear buyers will say to you when you're showing them houses, "Oh, I don't want to be in a mud district." And what they're talking about there is that they don't want to pay extra taxes.
They don't want to be in the tax, right? They don't want to do the taxes.
So that you're going to hear that kind of comment sometimes.
Yeah, and it's really kind of to cover you to where, you know, if they come back, well, you didn't tell me this was in a mud. I wouldn't have bought it if it was in a mud. I'm like, yeah, I did. Here's the form. You know, you didn't tell me it had extra taxes. Well, yeah,
Right.
I did. You just weren't paying attention.
And also the mud form needs to be sent to the title company once there's an executed contract.
Okay, so should I just send the realtor? It's not my job to send him the form. It's my job to ask him if he could check and see if this property is in a mud, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have the one that's option pending now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't tell him check and see if it's in a mud. Just say, hey, we did a class on muds last night and we looked at our property and our property's in a mud. Yeah, so can you fill out the mud form and get it over to me, please? That's what I
All
would
right.
say.
Okay.
But don't tell them the other part.
Pardon? Don't tell him that I can.
Don't tell them the other part where if you want to back out of a deal,
Right.
it's their fault turning in the paperwork to you.
Yeah. So,
And then you can get your earned money back.
okay. Okay. So I just want to ask him, hey, can you fill out the mud for us? He still hasn't signed his broker information. I sent it for compliance and they said it's not signed. And I'm going, I can't get the guy to sign it.
He's an agent, the other agent?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, so whenever you guys are having problems like that, it's okay. You have the authority to contact their broker. So, you know, they, of course, they're going to get upset with you. But if you think that they're not responsive, you know, you send them a text, you send them an email, you call them, and they're just not doing things, you know, well, of course, real estate is not a fast business, but, you know, you notice that there's no communication at all, you are authorized to contact their broker.
Well, he's been communicating. He just hasn't replied with a couple of things that I've asked for signatures for that I'm assuming I'm going to need them to pass compliance.
And how do you communicate with them? Through text?
You know, like his IBS. He hasn't signed his IBS. Okay.
Who hasn't signed the IBS?
The other realtor hasn't signed his IBS from his office telling us who he is. His name is not on his IBS. It says his office, his supervisor. It doesn't have his name or his signature on it.
He doesn't have to give that to you.
He doesn't have to give you the IBS from his side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just to his client.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have his. Then who is my office telling me that I need to get signatures from?
Okay, so our contract compliance from Texas United Realty side is the IABS is only for if you're representing the buyer, it's only the buyer's side is what we need for the IABS in order for us to be contract compliant. The seller side, we don't need the IABS on that side.
Okay. Well, all right.
It's
I have my buyer's signatures on my IBS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So contract compliance, you just let them know that this IABS is from the buyer side, and the other IABS for the seller side is not needed.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you know how I explain the IABS to my clients is I just tell them, hey, this is just saying that you're signing up with the brokerage. You're really not signing up with me. You know, I represent you and you're signing up with the brokerage. And that's how I explain it.
Yeah, the information about broker services, to add to Mindy, it's just information to the potential client that eventually you'll be having a fiduciary duties for, and it's just notifying them how you represent their best interests if they're the buyer side, or you represent their best interests when you're in the seller side, or if there's an intermediary situation, that also is going to be a notification to them. So information about broker services is not a contract.
Yeah.
It's a notice saying, hey, this is how we work. And so that's it. But whenever you're presenting the buyer side, you only need the buyer side. It's buyer signatures or initials.
Okay, so I should have not sent that to my office for compliance just because he provided me with it. I should have not sent it, and that way they wouldn't be asking for it.
Right.
It also confuses a lot in that sense, because we're assuming that you're representing the seller, I think, is really.
Yeah, well, because I sent both. I sent mine and I sent his.
Yeah, so try to avoid that. Always think about what side of the fence you're at. If you're on the buyer side of the fence or you're on the seller side of the fence. And
Yeah.
and then that's how you think about it. So there are times with a lot of new agents or even old agents, I've noticed, they'll send you everything and you have to extract.
Yeah.
And now Dotloop allows you to extract documentation that shouldn't be there. So Dotloop allows you to do that. PDF editors are also another way of extracting if it's all bundled together.
Okay.
Would it be helpful if you guys had a class on how to extract and merge documentation?
Good. That would be good.
Okay, because I've been thinking about a topic and I didn't know what to talk about. But
Well, I want to be able to know how to do that one where you can, I think it's My Smart Offer, where you have a link or something through Dotloop that
Oh,
to
I
your
haven't-
listing.
Yeah, I haven't messed with that.
Well,
Is My Smart Office, is that like a third party, like
Well,
CRM or something?
it's in Dotloop and it puts all of your stuff on your, I guess, all your documents on the listing. And then the realtor can hit it and all your information's already filled out. All they have to do is fill
Nice.
out
Yeah. I think
their
that
side.
is, that's like something extra you have to pay for. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
lion desk or
It-
something like that. You have to pay a monthly fee.
Oh, I
And
thought by reading what, I thought it looked like
Yeah,
our broker
I'm gonna
pays for it
check.
for us.
Rick Rogers, the broker, pays for Dotloop.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check to see if that has that feature. So,
it's something I'd like to learn how to use.
yeah, I would too if it's free.
what I'm
My
gonna do
Smart
is,
Office.
Especially if Rick's already paying for it.
yeah. So, but what I'll do is I'll work on helping you guys how to split files and merge files together. There's a lot of different ways of doing that. There's also free tools that you can use to do that. But Dotloop I've been using Dotloop a lot with merging documents and extracting pages.
Where is the My Smart Office at inside of Dotloop?
I've never seen it.
I don't see it now.
Yeah. And I've even taken the Dotloop Master 1, Master 2, and Master 3, and I don't remember seeing
I
it.
think it's a link from HAR that you connect
Oh.
to your Dotloop. I think it's a HAR thing.
It might be a feature of you have to have platinum subscription.
And it's going to be, I bet you it's going to be a third party tool, and it's probably one you got to pay for.
Yeah, we need to. I'll still look at it. It's
Yeah.
called Smart. You said?
Something like that. But I know it's a link, and that way they can just, like, it takes
Sure.
them to your Dotloop.
Yes.
And so whenever they put in the offer, it goes into that Dotloop, I believe.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
Because otherwise you have two Dotloops going. You have one for the buyer or one for the other realtor that's sending you, if the other realtor uses Dotloop. That you have one
You can
loop that the other realtor is sending you, and then you have your own.
Right. You can actually, there is a feature in Dotloop when there's two similar Dotloops that you can kind of like marry them together. There is a feature for that. But yeah, I'll look at Smart Tool to see what it's all about, and then if I like it, I'll learn it, and then I can teach it.
Yeah, that'd be good. That would be good, because it sounds like something I'd like to use.
Mhm.
Well, when I stumble across it again, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
I know it's
thank
getting
you
close.
everyone for joining in. I appreciate it, and I like all the questions
Thank you.
because it helps me learn too. Fernando taught me the Control F.
Yes. Command F.
Remember Fernando.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mindy.
All right, guys. Well, you have
All
a
right.
great, stay healthy and safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
guys.
Right.
Sleep with angels, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Night. Stop.